This is going to be a short video on how to change gradebook settings, create gradebook categories and items, and integrate those with drop boxes, quizzes, and rubrics in D2L. To start off with, we're going to go to our gradebook, and then we're going to go to schemes. And in this particular case, I have created a customized gradebook, so if I want to modify that, all I have to do is select that, and it brings up areas that I can go in and I can make changes. So if I want a D to be actually 59% instead of 60, I can put that in here. I can change the color that I want. Also assigned value percentage, I would change that to the 59% also to make sure that that matched. If I wanted to change the letter grades, I could change the letter grades, and then when I'm finished, you would select Save and Close. And that would change your gradebook. The next item would be to create gradebook categories. So what you want to do is under your grades, since we're already here, we're going to go back to Manage Grades, and then we're going to select the new button, and this time we're going to select Category, and we are going to go in and give a category a name. If we choose to give it a short title, we can. If we want a description, we can put that in there, and then from here we can put in a weighted score, and you can also include, allow category grade to exceed the weighted score, which we're not going to do, and then we're going to choose distribute the weights by pointing across all items in the category. And so the more items that we create inside of the category, it will automatically adjust for those particular items. And then we're going to scroll down a little bit further, and we can say display class averages to users and display grade distributions to users. I'm not going to check any of those. And then when we're finished, we're just going to hit Save and Close. Because I've already done that, I'm going to cancel on this one, and you will notice that it created I have a category of homework, and if I go back in here, you see where there is the title. This one here has a 20% of a weighted score, and then everything else was left alone. And that's how I come up with the 20% here. Next item I'm going to do is I have created two items within inside of this category, and what we're going to do with that is under the new button, you would actually create item, and in this particular case, you then would choose what type of item you want to create, whether it's going to be a numeric, select box, pass, fail, formula, or calculated, or a text area. And what I did is I chose a numeric. And what I'm going to do is go back into the edit the homework one, so you can actually see one filled out. And so from here, we gave it a name. We didn't put in a short name, but you could do that. And then from there, what I did was I chose the category to assign it to. And so in here in this drop-down menu, because I already had the category created, all I had to do is just select the category that I wanted to assign it to. And if you notice that there is a category for quizzes and exams also. Description, if I wanted to put a description in here, and then you come down to a max point value. So in this particular case, what I did was I chose the maximum point value for this particular assignment. Remember, the category has a maximum of 20 points spread out between the number of items that we put inside of there. And this particular one I'm saying will be 10%. I mean 10 points in this one. Grading scheme, if you choose, I could have created the customized gradebook, which was what I used to manipulate earlier. In this particular case, we're going to just use the default and leave it alone. I can also go in and add a rubrics at this point. So if one already exists, I can select it. Otherwise, I can create a rubrics in a new window. So if I select that, then what I can do is I can create a rubrics, and this is going to be a homework rubric 1. I'm going to add another level because I want it to be 100%. So in this particular case, I'm going to rename this to level 5. And my distributions of my percentages are okay. And I'm going to go in and put in some descriptions. And let's see here. And there are my automatic messages that pop up when I select those items when we're grading in the rubric. At this point then, all I have to do is now, if I choose to have options, I can go in and say, okay, the students can see the rubric and so forth, if I want to put in a description. I'm going to close this now. And I'm going to, here is my rubric that I created. And obviously if I select again, it comes back to where I can modify anything that I may have missed by accident. Okay, and then we've got that part taken care of. And I'm going to go back over to my item that I had created, because when you select create a rubric, it opens a new tab, and so I had to make sure that I went back over. And so now I can add the rubric that I created, and you would select that and add selected. So now here is the rubric that is added to it. If I go down a little bit further for this particular item, then I can display class averages if I choose to, grade distribution to users, override, and I'm not going to choose any of those items. At this point, I'm going to save and close. And then what it would do is it would create that particular item underneath the homework area. Okay. Now, if I wanted to do quizzes, I would do the exact same thing. I would create a quiz category by going up to the new, selecting the category, and then going through the steps of creating the quiz. When I wanted to create a quiz underneath of that category, I would go back to new item, and then I would choose item, and then I would go in and actually fill in the options for that, and then making sure that the category I select, I assign it to the actual quiz category. And then it would be just flowing back down through here. I assigned this for 10 points. I didn't indicate that they could exceed or there was any bonuses. I did assign the default grading scheme. This one doesn't have a rubrics, but if I wanted to add a rubric, it would be the exact same thing. I would first create the rubric because I don't have a quiz rubric, and then I would go back in and add the rubric. And then from here, I would go down through and choose the rest of the student view options, which I'm not going to, and then we would save and close. And it would come back, and then quiz 1 would be created underneath the quiz category. And that is how you would actually create your gradebook category items and then integrate them with a Dropbox quiz and a rubric. One additional item for your Dropbox, you do have to create your Dropbox. So after you have gotten your categories and your items set up, we now have to go back to the content section, and from here we want to create a brand new item, and I'm going to go to underneath the particular module that I want to create this in. We're going to select new, and then we're going to select new Dropbox, and I'm going to give this homework 1, any instructions if I need to, due date if I need to, availability, start date, end dates, submissions and completions. And if I'm going over here, I would go in and choose a, if there was going to be a group and I needed to assign it to a category, I could. Submission type, this is a file submission. unlimited, allow any allowable file extensions. We don't need to worry about that. I'm just allowing everything. And then of course, then we've got all submissions are kept, and then those are set. And I'm going back now into the evaluation and feedback. And then of course, if we wanted to add it to any of the rubrics, we could do that here. And if we were to save and close this, then what would happen, and I'm not going to save this because I have already created one. Cancel, yes, I want it. So if I come down through here, you'll notice that I did create a Dropbox upload, which is here. I can go in and edit this. And then I'm going to come over to actually add this to the gradebook item. And so I can do that right here by adding a gradebook item. The point value of this was 10 points, and I'm going to assign it to homework number 1. And when you save it, it is now attached to the gradebook. And there you have it.